Hi, and welcome to another of our readings from Ancient Greek Drama by me, Professor Michael Scott. It's a great pleasure to see you here. And today we are moving back to Sophocles, the great playwright, and to his play Ajax. Now, this is probably the earliest of the plays that were written by Sophocles that have survived to us today, but certainly not the first that he had written. He was probably in his late 40s, early 50s when Ajax was written, around about 442, 441 BC. And Ajax is also a rather extraordinary play because it contains, we think, one of the few instances in which death actually occurred on stage for the audience to see. Though there is plenty of death in Greek tragedy, it normally always happens off stage. We might hear it happening off stage, or we might hear about it, later reports of it on stage, in often gruesome detail, but we don't often see death on stage. And this is not just any death, because what the crux of Sophocles' Ajax is actually a suicide, the suicide of Ajax, the great hero from the Trojan War. And the story is this, that Achilles, that other great hero from the Trojan War, when he died, his armour, Ajax, another of the great heroes from Greek heroes from Troy, his armour, Achilles' armour, Ajax thought, should be given to him as a gift as the next best Greek warrior. That was the way in which things were done. But the two Greek kings in charge of the Greek army at Troy, Agamemnon and Menelaus, decided instead that it should go to the other Greek warrior, Odysseus. Ajax is so infuriated by this decision, it's such a slight to his honour, that he decides to go on a killing spree and try and kill the Greek leaders in the camp. But the goddess Athena intervenes and deludes Ajax and sends him instead to kill a whole bunch of cattle, thinking that they are the Greek leaders. When Ajax comes round to his senses and realises that he has been tricked into killing a bunch of cattle rather than the Greek leaders, he is so full of shame at his loss of heroic status, not just in not getting Achilles' armour, but also now in these actions in which he's been seen killing cattle for no reason, that he decides there is no other option for himself but to kill himself to retain, or at least try and give himself back some honour. He can't live with the shame of it. And the speech we're about to read, one of the most extraordinary in Greek tragedy, it's the speech where Ajax stands over the sword that he has planted in the ground, which he plans to fall onto before he goes on to do so. The sacrificial killer stands planted in the way that will cut me most deeply, if I have the leisure for even this much reflection. First, it is the gift of Hector, that enemy friend who was most hateful to me and most hostile to my sight. Next, it is fixed in enemy soil, the land of Troy, newly whetted on the iron-devouring stone. And finally, I have planted it with scrupulous care, so that it should prove most kind to me by a speedy death. Yes, we are well equipped. And so, O Zeus, be the first to aid me, as is proper. It's no large prize that I ask you to award me. Send on my behalf some messenger with news of my downfall to Teucer, so that he may be the first to raise me once I have fallen on this sword and made it newly wet, and so that I am not first spotted by some enemy and cast out and exposed as prey to the dogs and birds. For this much, Zeus, I appeal to you. I call also on Hermes, guide to the underworld, to lay me softly to sleep with one quick, struggle-free leap when I have broken open my side on this sword. And I call for help to the eternal maidens, who eternally attend to all sufferings among mortals, the dread, far-striding Erinnes, asking them to learn how my miserable life is destroyed by the Atreidae. And may they seize those wicked men with most wicked destruction, just as they see me fall slain by my own hand. So slain by their own kin, may they perish at the hand of their best-loved offspring. Come, you swift and punishing Erinnes. Devour all the assembled army and spare nothing. And you, Helios, whose chariot wheels climb the steep sky, when you see the land of my fathers, draw in your reins spread with gold, and tell my disasters and my fate to my aged father and to the unhappy woman who nursed me. Poor mother. Indeed, I think when she hears this news, she will sing a song of loud wailing throughout the entire city. But it is not for me to weep in vain like this. No, the deed must quickly have its beginning. O death, death, come now and lay your eyes on me. Come, death, lay your eyes on me. Yet I will meet you also in that other world, and then address you. But you, beam of the present day, bright day, I salute you. And the sun in his chariot for the last time and never again. Oh, light. Oh, sacred soil of my own Salamis, firm seat of my father's hearth, of famous Athens, and your race kindred to mine, and you, springs and rivers of this land, and you, plains of Troy, I salute you also. Farewell, you who have nurtured me. This is the last word that Ajax speaks to you. The rest he will tell to the shades in Hades. Ajax falls on his sword and commits suicide, where his body is indeed found by the Greek camp, not by the dogs and animals of prey as he had feared. But the second half of the play is taken up with a debate over what to do with his body. The kings Agamemnon and Menelaus, given that Ajax actually wanted to kill them, are very keen to have the body thrown to the animals and to the birds of prey. But it's actually Odysseus, who is the new proud owner of Achilles' armour, who argues that Ajax should be treated with respect, as should all people in death, and be given a proper burial. And it's Odysseus who wins out the argument at the end of the day, leaving him, perhaps, the true hero of a newer time, the smarter, more eloquent hero who changes the world with words, not least with deeds. Thanks very much for joining us today. And if you enjoyed this reading, don't forget there's a number of other available on our YouTube channel, the Professor Michael Scott YouTube channel. Do join us also on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Prof Michael Scott, or via Twitter @ProfMCScott. Take care.